Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Well, Puckers, no, it didn't come easy. One in the books, 81 to go. It has been 119 days, guys, since the Devils played a meaningful hockey game that counted, and even worse, 123 days since the Devils have got in the win column. And tonight they did. Game one against the Detroit Red Wings. It wasn't easy. It was a hard-fought game, a little sloppy at times. But the guys that you needed to come through came through, and the Devils end up with the W, and we're going to go over it all with you, and we're going to talk a little bit about this game. We're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into some of the games yesterday, a little preview into the game against the Coyotes, and to help us out with it all, we've got the fellow Puckers, Dan and Tony. Bobby is up at the Rock tonight, hoping to maybe get a phone call in from him to let us know a little bit about the energy up there, what the atmosphere was like at the game, but chances are he's probably way too inebriated to call in. Yeah. But anyway, boys, welcome. How's it going? Everybody feeling good? I mean, we got the dub.
Feeling good.
Yes, sir. Nice to be back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. Detroit came to play.
I was impressed with their game. They had a good game. You can't take anything away from them. They played a very solid game. They made it very hard for the Devils to play their game.
Yeah, the Devils, I don't think, played their game at all. It was very few and far between. Detroit, the one thing I didn't realize about them is they're really fast.
Yeah.
They're a really fast team that can keep up with the Devils. And, that was a fun game to watch. I would have liked to seen it open up a little bit more. I would have liked to seen it, a little bit crisper and cleaner, but it's only game one. So
in the third, it opened up a little bit like the second half, and you could see like what a wild game that would be if they're both sides are going to play wide open. But, Detroit was playing a good strategy to keep the Devils from doing what they can do. And it almost paid off for them. I mean, let's face it, it was a close game.
Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, with the Devils, it was like, they could have went either way. Like I was telling you, Chris, before we started the show, first game of the year, I don't take it. I was like, yeah, there was definitely came out flat. I mean, I even heard Jack say that in the post-game interview. They realize it. It's game number one, but it's nice to get the W because you never want to, start out the season with a loss. And Detroit coming out strong, I'm not surprised because it's, they want to obviously ruin a home opener to also and it's beginning to their season. So definitely good to be back and not have to, preseason school and stuff. But it's nice to have the Devils back playing real games.
Yeah, I like I said, I thought Detroit played a very good game. I think they took the Devils out. I really think the only line that was noticeable for New Jersey was that Hughes line. Hughes was on fire tonight. Played a fucking amazing game. 2 goals.
Vanacek, I was impressed with.
I thought Vitek Vanacek was lights out tonight. I thought he was really stellar. Made some beautiful saves. And then Hamilton gives us the go-ahead goal. They ended up getting within one at the end with the goal he pulled, and so Holla ended up netting the empty netter, which was nice. But it was a lot closer than it probably should have been, or at least I think on paper going into it, most people would have said, Devils have this. It's a few goal win. Detroit's not going to be able to hang with them. No, Detroit hung with us. And, the Devils have a lot of cleaning up to do, and they will. I'm not worried about it. But
I could definitely feel when Toffoli was on the ice, couldn't you guys? When Toffoli was out there, you could tell. I think he's going to be a really big part of this team this year. Like, just even in game one, I was watching. You could just feel his presence out there.
There were a couple of guys that I thought were noticeable. Toffoli, I would have liked to have seen shoot more. I think he had a couple of opportunities to actually get the puck on net. He chose to pass. I think that's normal for a guy kind of coming into a lineup and wanting to kind of see where everything fits. That is kind of normal, but I would like to see him shoot a little bit more. I know that I thought that Luke Hughes played really good on the back end. I thought he had a solid game. He was out there for some good minutes. Thought that Siegenthaler defensively, I know he had 3 assists, but I think defensively he was maybe had the roughest go of it as far as our defensemen tonight. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I mean that second goal was really he was in it was part of that definitely, but he also made some good plays too. So like everybody, he kind of had an up and down game. But yeah, Siegenthaler and Smith on the defense, were probably the least steady. Now, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. You're not talking about Luke Hughes there. We would have maybe said, okay, if he has a defensively unsteady game, we'd get it because he's, supposedly taking this sheltered role. But he didn't. He actually looked really good defensively. Like you said, the goaltending was huge. And this is going to have to be the case this year. It is like the question mark, but everybody points to when you ask analysts about the Devils. But I think, the question mark, or at least what's going to take some time for this team to gel with is the defense. And so that's where the goaltending has to bail them out. And tonight, Vitek Jack did that. I mean, he bailed them out. Detroit could have easily taken over this game and had a 2-3 goal lead in that second period. But really, that was all Vitek Jack that held them in there.
Well, the Red Wings squandered quite a few opportunities in the first, too. They had 2 posts, and then Vitek making some really, really nice saves. If he's not on point, those posts are an inch the other way. You're down 3-0 going into the second. And that's a position that the Devils don't want to be in. I do, however, think this style of game, and it was a little bit more of that hard working, things weren't coming easy. That's the theme of the night. Everything had to be, dug out, hard working goals, hard work for any kind of offensive pressure, and to sustain any kind of offensive pressure. I think you can maybe count on one hand how many times Devils had legitimate, sustained offensive zone pressure. This was a good game to come out with the W with. This was this is a high flying team that can score a lot of points, but they kind of showed tonight, if you want to grind it out, they can, and they can get the timely goals when they need to. I thought some of the early penalties were meh, I know it's early in the season. They're going to call everything. How's this though? Right? Jack gets 6 penalty minutes all of last year, 12 penalty minutes his entire career, and he had 4 tonight.
He doesn't want that lady bang this year. It looks
Apparently
like.
Not. Nobody wants the lady bang.
Yeah, that's his first job. I think before scoring a hat trick, his most important goal tonight was to get himself off that lady Bing list, and he did the slash. And I guess that was a roughing. I don't know. I mean, when I was watching the ESPN feed, they say it's more of an interference, which I agree with.
I don't even know if I would have called it that.
It's a borderline call, but if it's any kind of call, it's interference. It's not roughing.
No, it definitely wasn't roughing. And the puck was just there, and he just kind of gave a shoulder in him, and the guy went down. You're talking about a dude that's a lot bigger than Jack, and Jack takes him down, and Jack gets the penalty. I don't know. And then, there could have been... Yeah, so I wasn't a huge fan of some of those penalties that were called early on. I thought later on, the slash was the slash, and a couple of those other. I thought Bratt had a stupid interference penalty that in the third period that put.
Oh, that was real dumb because that just totally negated your power play. So that was not good. Now I'll tell you with Jack's penalties. First of all, objectively, his second penalty there, the slash, is a retaliation penalty, the kind you don't want your players to take. The only way you kind of want to give him a pass on this. Is, Jack Hughes gets a pass for anything he does. Well, no, not really. In this game, he was the only one who was wide awake and churning when the rest of the team was clutching too tight. I don't want to say they were asleep. They were trying, but they were maybe trying in the wrong way, and they were clutching their sticks tight and not making good passes. And he goes out and he scores 2 goals. And if he's got that kind of hard edge where he's going to take a penalty with it too, it's something you're just going to have to live with. I'm sure that, just taking that penalty in isolation, it's not a good penalty to take. It's a retaliatory penalty. Yeah, the guy dragged his sack across your helmet, and you probably should have got some kind of call for interference as you're holding the guy down for a good 1-2 Mississippi. But you still took the slash.
If somebody ran their balls across Bobby's face, he would have gotten a call.
Yeah,
right after Bobby gave the guy his phone number.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure Bobby had a blast tonight, though. I'm looking
Oh,
forward to
sure.
hear his.
He met up with Bill from the Trap Podcast. They were hanging for a bit.
Yeah.
So, it seemed like a fun crowd. Bobby did text us all that, the energy was not nearly where it was last year.
Now, he said that at the end of the first, if I'm not mistaken, right? So there was no goal
really
yet. So I'm
period.
curious how if he thinks the energy picked up or not.
Yeah, we got to definitely ask him about that. Yeah. Or because look, New Jersey Devil fans, we're some of us aren't the brightest fans. This is the same group of fans that called for Lindy Ruff to be fired after 2 games last year. They were chanting MVP after Jack gets 2 goals, and so maybe they're just waiting for the playoffs now. Maybe they're just not going to. You know what? There's 82 games. We're not really
getting
get
spoiled.
Ourselves,
is what you're saying?
Yeah,
we're
not going to get ourselves all up into a hizzy over game 1. Let's let the playoffs.
But you could kind of feel the tension in the building. I get it, and New Jersey, we're definitely impatient people. That's kind of famously our thing. We're very impatient.
Yeah,
and I think we were joking around like the MVP chant, also kind of impatient in game 1 to be chanting MVP, but why not? Enjoy yourself and have fun. A lot better look than Fire Lindy.
You're at the game, you got a couple of drinks in you, you're having fun, chant whatever the fuck you want.
Oh, it's positive. Yeah, at least it's not like some negative thing, I guess.
Right. Not Fire Lindy, this is much better.
The Rangers had a big win tonight. They beat the Sabres. Did you guys catch any of the games last night?
I just saw the highlights or the lowlights, the beating that.
I did see Bedard finally got his first NHL goal, though.
Did see that goal about 50 times on replay.
Well, who scored
it's all over. Yeah, right? I didn't hear. Did Connor Bedard score?
Connor who? Never heard of him.
Yeah. Exactly. Nice goal, nice little wraparound goal. But.
Yeah, it was a really nice goal. One of many for Mr. Bedard, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a hell of a player. I did watch a lot of games last night. Just do a little recap. Vancouver whooping up on Edmonton 8-1.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising, huh? I don't think I saw 8-1 beating coming Edmonton's way.
Brett Besser with 4 goals on 8 shots. JT
Talk about
Miller
coming out flat.
Goal.
I mean, we were worried the Devils came out flat. How do you come out like that and give up 8 goals in that opening game? I mean, it's a complete disaster. Defensively looked horrible. I saw all the highlights. Like, where is everybody?
Defensively, they weren't even playing. And look, Edmonton. There's my pick to win the Stanley Cup. It was Bobby's pick to win the Stanley Cup. I think one of you guys also had him to win the Stanley Cup. But and so many people have them. And you know what? If you're going to have your goalies, each of these guys, both of them, Skinner and Campbell, had 16 shots each, and they both let 4 goals in. Like, you cannot be putting guys out there with no defense and getting 8 goals on 32 shots. That's just embarrassing.
They expected McDavid to score 9, I guess. I don't know. Something went wrong here. He didn't score 9 goals.
Most nights you probably could.
I know, right? Maybe that's the problem. We're just relying too much on McDavid.
And here's the thing, though. Like, I understand that game 1 is, first week, first 5 games, 6 games, teams are trying to find their legs and everything. But game 1, to me, like, you have 4 to 5 months to get yourself prepared for game 1. How does Edmonton come out and just
things can go sideways, but how does that game not turn into like a fisticuffs bench? Like, how do you get embarrassed by 8 goals without it turning into the WWF? Like, you need there's no way you're going to let your first game come mid-season. There's that one game and then nobody's watching during the week, and you give up, a horrible performance. Right. Fine. Opening night, if it's going to go sideways, you better go down swinging.
I think they play again Saturday in Edmonton. They start out home and home, so I'm real curious to see how that game 2 goes. Now, if you heard Connor McDavid, halfway through the third period, Vancouver pulled Thatcher Demko and they brought Casey DeSmith in. And Connor McDavid made a little comment that, basically like something along the lines of, that they were kind of rubbing salt in the wound by putting their backup in. When that's not the case. Thatcher Demko actually got sick during the game and in the third period puked in his mask. Dude, how nasty is that? He threw up in his mask, so Taka takes him out, puts DeSmith in. DeSmith stopped 5 of 5. It was Thatcher Demko's goal. Game.
I knew a guy who shit himself in net once.
Really?
Ben Bishop.
And he played the rest of the game like that. And that's, local lore. They're a men's league. He shit himself during the game. No.
Oh, okay.
But he did, and he ended up having to stay in net, and everybody who came down to the my end of the ice,
how bad
like,
did
that guy shit himself, and I thought they were kidding at first. I really thought they were kidding, and then after the game, I talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, no, I shit myself."
No, just an accident.
Do you remember
I don't know. He was sick. He didn't feel well or something, but he didn't want to
do it.
I give him warrior points for not getting out of net like that.
Oh, no doubt.
But can you imagine that? You're playing every time I go near this guy, I just want to throw up. He shit himself.
I know.
Well, when Tampa was in the Stanley Cup against Chicago,
Right.
Ben Bishop actually had the stomach flu in the playoffs there, and that's why Vitek Jack was cut. They were going in and out, and he missed some games because he had the same issue. Actually, I heard.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't shit in his pants on the ice.
I think he may have.
No,
I don't know.
I think I remember hearing that. Now that you mentioned that, Tony.
There
Ben
was
Bishop,
you brought up wrestling, you brought up WWE. There's a story, and Stone Cold was wrestling. I believe it was Owen Hart, the late Owen Hart, and it was something happened, and whatever the move happened, and Stone Cold shit right in his fucking pants, and he quick threw an audible, and he laid down, had the pin, and ran out of there. He's like, it was coming out of the bottom of my fucking trunks. It was nasty. I don't know if he was sick or whatever, but back to the game, I have to say, Vancouver is not on too many people's radar to make the playoffs, but if Thatcher Demko plays the way he's playing, and that team can, with Pedersen and Miller and Quinn Hughes, those guys,
they can score, huh?
They
8
might
goals,
make a little
1 game.
bit of noise, man. I know it's only 1 game, but I think Thatcher Demko played really good, and he's been a big question mark. He was injured a lot last year. They were looking like they were going in the right direction until he got hurt. So I like it. I like Vancouver.
Yeah, great performance by them.
Colorado 5-2 win over the Kings last night. Mika Rantanen had 2 goals, 2 assists. Nate McKinnon had a goal. It was all the big guys, right? Cale Makar had a goal. Our guy, Miles Wood, also had a goal. There's your 5. Gregorgiev had 2 goals on 36 shots. That was a game that I actually watched a little bit of, and Avs just looked amazing. And the Kings, I thought, would be doing a hell of a lot better than they did that game. One of the funnest games actually, I'll get to that one last. I didn't watch any of the Jets and Flames game. I know the Flames won 5-3. Markstrom had 3 goals on 37 shots. From everything that I heard on today, during the day, Markstrom looked really good. Flames came back. I think it was 3-3 in the third, and the Flames came back, scored 2, won it. You brought up Connor Bedard. His Blackhawks went into Boston. They lost 3-1. Pasta had 2 goals. Olmark had 1 goal on the 21 shots. Bedard had his first goal and a nice wraparound on Olmark. Had a little picture of him holding his first goal puck after the game with not a smile on his face. The man was not happy. The kid wants to win. I have 2. Yeah, he's going to have to wait a while. He's going to have to do a lot of losing this year. The Sens and the Canes. So the Senators lost 5-3. I watched the majority of that game, and I'm going to say something, and I think that a lot of people might disagree with me. The Carolina Hurricanes, yes, I know they're very good. They're an exceptional team. They play within a very, very good, well-disciplined system. They are boring. If you've watched one Carolina Hurricane, you've watched all 82 Carolina Hurricane games. They are just a boring team to watch. They're not exciting. I don't like watching their games, which takes me to the final game of last night, which, if you're a hockey fan, this game was so much fun to watch. Montreal-Toronto. 6-5 win for Toronto in a shootout. Did you watch any of this game?
I saw they had some fights going on, yeah.
This game was so much fun. Montreal was up 2-0 after the first. Second period, Toronto comes in, scores 3 unanswered. They're up 3-2. Go into the third, Montreal scores 3 unanswered. They're up 5-3 with the goalie pulled with about 5 minutes left. Austin Matthews just does Austin Matthews stuff. Scores 2 goals, ties it up. The 3-on-3 was fun. Samsonov made some really nice saves. So did, the hell's his name? The goalie for Jake Allen. Did all right. And then goes into shootouts. Third round of the shootouts, Mitch Marner, the last one to score, the only one to score, and Toronto wins in the shootout. But that game was so freaking much fun to watch. I mean, it was just
wild.
all over the place. Wild game. I know if you're a Toronto fan or even a Montreal fan, you're probably not a huge fan of that type of game. You know, you want to see a little bit more discipline from your team. But as a hockey
sloppy
fan,
but fun. Yeah,
it's fun to watch. And so I mean, I don't. There are a lot of things, of course, that the Devils are going to have to clean up, and I'm going to have no issues that they will. I do expect a little bit more of a spirited effort tomorrow against the Coyotes. I have to say, I didn't think that Hischier, Meyer, Mercer line
didn't
really
click much. No.
Yeah. They started with Meyer on the wing with them. They put Holtz down to the hollow line. Did you guys notice anything about Holtz or the Hischier line or anything that you want to discuss? Or
I thought Meyer was, let's say he had the goal called back that, obviously he was kicked in, but he's trying to kick it to his stick. He makes a good play. He's right there. If it was for the goalie getting in the way with his pad of his stick, he might have touched that puck before it crossed the line. That was what he was trying to do.
Yep.
So, he was close to being on the board, and he was kind of where but yes, overall, did that line create the chances that you expect that line to create? No, they did not. I thought they had a hard time finding each other with the passes they intended, So, that line needs to gel a little bit more. I thought the whole team kind of was just, not making the passes that they are capable of. And, it's hard to explain exactly why. I think Detroit played them pretty
close. Well, that's what I was
just
going to ask. Do you think it was just, okay, it's game one and they're just not, they're not there yet? Or do you think it was Detroit just played them very good? Detroit has a very similar
Detroit was very
style.
aggressive, and, they did not like getting, smacked in the mouth in the first period. Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were scored on or anything, but they realize it's a flat performance. It's a good reason why you don't want to go flat in the first period. I don't know what's worse, going flat in the first or the third, but going flat in the first is pretty bad because it does cause a problem. Looks like we got a drop in here.
I think we do. I think we got a drop in. Where is he? Bobby, live in Newark.
I cannot even hear you guys, dude.
So,
can you hear us
Bob,
at all? No?
Can you hear us at all?
Oh, no. I don't have
Bobby,
that
there's a pair of balls on your head.
So just give us a quick rundown. What was the energy like in that arena tonight, especially in the second and third?
Roundup being really cool. Look, Pennsylvania Johnny's here.
What's up, John?
Come on, after party. Let's go.
There he is. On the
What's
streets.
up, Derek?
Oh.
So
it did start off a little slow, right? It felt a little bit, it was missing something, but then Jack Hughes showed up. He did what Jack Hughes does, right? The building came alive. It was really great. Vitek was the star of the show for sure. I don't know how it came through on the TV, but man, this is V's team. We love Schmidt. He's the future maybe, but these fans love V. So that was great to see. Superstars like Jack, this is what they do. There was nothing going on. He made it happen. So, go for them. It probably should have been 4-1. A lot of penalties were bullshit, but it was a good time. The fans finally got into it. We were sitting next to some strange fans, which is really fucking weird. Weren't really fans. They were there for like the betting line. All they wanted was Jack Hughes to score and for the Devils to win, which happened. So, good for them, I guess, but really fucking annoying. But for the most part, the fans were having a great time. The energy picked up, and it's just been a party. It's been great.
How many beers have you had? How many beers have you had tonight?
How many beers have I had tonight?
Yes.
Shit, I don't know. We couldn't get into our hotel, so I had 3 waiting. I think Derek and John each had 4. And then we got a couple in the bar. So, yeah, 10. I don't know.
$1,000.
Did you start the MVP chant, or was that somebody else?
No,
I know you started
chant.
the Fire Lindy chant last year. So
no,
that was you,
me.
right?
Oh. But we just follow along. I was chanting for the whole chant when he shot that puck like 12 feet wide. I was like, oh shit, there I go. I'm gonna hear about that.
That whole shot was not really wide. It actually went off a skate. It was a good deflection, defensive block. It wasn't really Holtz's fault.
Oh, the one that almost took Meyer's head off?
Yeah, if you watch the replay, it went off a skate on a block.
Okay.
Right? The shot was on target.
Thought he shot that thing 12 feet high.
No, it looked like it first off. You got to watch the replay to see.
So what's the game plan for the rest of the night up in the city, Bobby?
This fucking silly disco music is fucking drowning out everything you guys are saying. I got nothing right now. I can't
You're gonna go dancing.
with this shit. You know, I'm probably not adding anything more to the show, so I gotta cut off because I can't fucking hear it all. Have a great show. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night. Just know.
Thanks for checking in, Bobby.
It's gonna be great, dude. And,
all right,
how's my
thank you.
ear look up close?
It looks beautiful, Bob. You have a wonderful ear. That's
Nice
Bobby,
ear.
Pennsylvania live, our
best
man on the
feature.
street. Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah.
There he is. There he goes.
There he is.
Bobby P.A.
Peace out.
See you tomorrow.
I'm gonna go. Yo, the
He's not done yet.
Devils
No,
at
he's
Night
not.
or whatever here. I'm gonna go talk to that podcast. We already chatted with him a little bit. Maybe I
All
can
right.
get on. Who knows?
Well,
Yeah,
how
maybe
the
you could jump
how the-
ship to a
How
different
the stickers going? How's it going with the stickers? The stickers, Bob.
We're more than halfway through. Some people take them. Some people are like, "What the fuck am I going to do with a sticker?"
They think he's a Jehovah's
I'm 50
Witness.
years old. So, we're working our way through it. But the people that we did wind up talking to, they were interested about the show. So hopefully we pick up a couple more people and, just see how it goes.
All right, Bobby. Enjoy the rest of your night, my man.
Later.
Thank you.
See it.
Yep.
All right. So
Bobby
Nice, we got
kind
the
of has
Bobby
that.
report.
He kind of has that Ken Danico Midnight Oil look going on, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
That was fun.
It's a good look.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
He's
So,
having,
looks like he's
having a great
man. It's
time.
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time to be
Nice
out
to see
there.
fans out there in the streets. That's great.
Yeah.
Game 1, that's awesome.
And tomorrow night we got game 2. I expect a much more spirited performance from the Devils against the Coyotes, even though I don't think the Coyotes are pushovers either anymore. I think they are going to be okay. I'm not sure if they play tonight. I don't think so. So I
don't think so. I think they're going to
that's
have fresh
Arizona's
legs.
First game, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of reading like a little article from one of their local, news outlets, and they were talking about their keys to success, and it was pretty interesting to look at it from their point of view. One thing that they had first off was something that you saw happen tonight. They want to go and smack the Devils in the face early,
Right.
Like really come out as hard as they can, partially because they know the Devils are coming off back to back. And partially because that is probably going to be the key to playing the Devils is don't let them get momentum early. Everybody's going to play them hard. I think one of the lessons from this game tonight, you can't take too many lessons from a game 1, right? You don't want to extrapolate everything from one game. But look how hard Detroit came out. Look how well they played. I think that's going to be the story this year, that everybody's a little bit more ready for the Devils, and they're going to have to elevate that much more. I don't mean to say that they can't do that. They will. And
Look, iron sharpens iron. If that's how this season is going to be, then that's just going to make this team even better come playoff time. So I'm super excited about that. We do have the Coyotes tomorrow night, 7:00 at the Rock. Last year we played them twice. We beat them in Game 15, 5-2, and we beat them in Game 62. It was an overtime win. We beat them 5-4. Overall, the Devils are 33-42-9 against Arizona. So we definitely have a beyond losing record, and we have never met in the playoffs. So tomorrow, game 1, we'll see how that one goes. This is a team in Arizona that does believe that they can make a push in that playoff spot. They believe they can get themselves there. They are a bubble team. I'm not 100% sure. I guess we'll see more tomorrow. I am kind of interested to see how they play.
I'm going to do
And
a
who gets
silly
this-
score prediction. I'm going to say Devils win 5-1 tomorrow. I have a feeling they're going to show up a little bit, but more than tonight. I really feel like it's going to.
Tony, would you be willing to actually lay money on that?
Only if I use that service that you tell me about on this show.
Well, it's not really a service.
That's escort service. The one
Escort
he's been
service
talking
is
about.
what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I'm talking about DraftKings Sportsbook. And look, I get it. NFL is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. You can bet $5 on any game this week and score $200 instantly in bonus bets. Now, I get it. You don't get the bonus bets when it comes to the NHL, but it is a lot of fun to maybe throw some money down on that. Like, today, if you took
You're
the
getting
Devils,
40-1 odds on that.
If you took the Devils minus 1.5, you would have lost tonight because they only won by 1. But maybe you took the Detroit Red Wings to lose, but Devils not to cover. That's what you would have gotten. Jack Hughes tonight, for a goal, anytime goal, was a plus 100. I think he was a plus 1,200 for the first goal. Dougie Hamilton was in the over 2.5 on shots on goal. I'm not sure what he got, but it was definitely more than 2.5 shots. And
can we bet on his penalty minutes? Because that would have been something I think nobody would expect.
The Hughes 4 penalty minutes probably would have paid huge. Definitely. But those were just some of the prop bets you could have thrown down on tonight's Devil Red Wing game. So get in on game day greatness and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours.
Nice.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake, Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Nice. What's up with Ontario?
I tell you, I did like to see Jack fired up tonight, though. I did like seeing Jack fired up tonight. Already.
Oh, yeah.
100 points, I think, this year. I mean, I know it's only game one. You can't go by game one. I said that from the beginning of the show. It means nothing, but I would not be surprised the man breaks 100.
There were 19,000 people that were ready to hand him the Hart Trophy after 2 periods. So I don't think you're so crazy to say 100 points after game one. 100 points, yeah, I could totally see it. This kid is special. There is something. I mean, look, as a Devil fan, as long as we've been Devil fans, as old as we are, we have never even touched the surface of somebody that is as special of a player as Jack Hughes. I mean, look, Patrick Elias was fantastic, but Patrick Elias did not have the God-given skill that Jack Hughes does.
He was there tonight.
That second goal was so sweet. It was. I don't know if you noticed. Beautiful. He kind of did like almost like a no look, like he kind of just like turned his head a little bit as he released. It was kind of like a little messed up. You want the truth?
Did you guys watch the post game with him when he was talking?
No, I saw him there, but I was
on the bench. Yeah, I saw that.
I just something about him that's just so he just does not care. They're like, "What do you think of this goal? What do you think of that goal?" He's like, "I don't care if it goes in off my his pads." He said, "He's like, I just want the goal. He's like, just want the win." And I love that.
He wants to win.
That second goal where he just pulled up in the slot, like you said, did that little no look and then roofed it short side or far side rather. It was a very similar goal if you remember against Chicago. I believe that was also a home opener 2 years ago. It was an overtime win. That was when Jack threw the stick over the glass to one of those fans out there.
Yeah, I
was
remember
a very similar goal. He made a little bit of more of a deke in that Chicago, but it was that same spot. Right. It was that same move. But yeah, man, he is so friggin' special. I mean, just must see. He is so fun to watch, and there's not many guys in the NHL that are that much fun to watch. I mean, if I was not a Devil fan, the same way I will put on the Edmonton games to watch Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. I put on Colorado to watch Nate McKinnon. A bunch of different players. I watch Chicago because I want to see Connor Bedard. If I was not a Devil fan, I would be tuning into every Devil game just to see Jack.
A win like absolves everybody of a lot of sins. But looking at it and just putting the fact that we're happy they got the win aside, do you think there was enough physicality from the Devils, enough physical response? I thought Detroit played a very physical game, and that was part of what took us off our game. Did you expect or hope that they were going to be even a little bit more physical, start throwing bodies in response?
Definitely.
I mean, I was a little concerned about that. Jack took that mugging, and there was nobody around. I'm not looking for bench clearing,
And Dan, I've been preaching this I preached this last year at the end through the playoffs. I always say it, definitely. And I mean, hopefully that's not going to be an ongoing thing, but
he sure had a little dust up. It wasn't anything crazy, but again, not a huge physical response.
Nobody was over there.
I don't know, even though I'm not even saying it's called for in this game. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's the right call to not get super fired up and stay on target and play your game. But, I don't know. Part of me is always going to want a physical response. It's just the way I am, but I don't know.
I agree with you there. I mean, I definitely want to finish physical response as well. I'm not 100% sure if I'm very bummed about it not being tonight, only because it's game one. Everyone is still trying to find their legs, find their game. I think this was I think, this really was, if you look at this game as far as it was not a clean game. It was a lot of turnovers from both teams. There wasn't a whole lot of open ice. When there was, I thought the Devils took advantage, and I thought the Red Wings did late in the third too when they scored.
So imagine this was like a playoff game, right? If this was game one of a playoff series, especially if it didn't go our way because it was kind of close, I think we'd be talking about a lack of physical response.
Now, but did you feel that Detroit played physically? Because I didn't think this was a very physical game.
You're right that it was definitely not like one team completely dominating physically over the other. But between the two teams, I would say Detroit was more physical. I did not see the official hit count at the end of the game, and I don't think it necessarily is going to, change my mind on this. I just felt like when it came time for the pushing and shoving and all that stuff, Detroit seemed to have a little bit. Sometimes that happens that the losing team's more frustrated and they're a little bit more physical, and you just play your game. That's the right move to make. I'm not saying you always go out there and smear their faces against the glass. That's not what I'm saying. But I was just with a concern, maybe a little bit, because I'm wondering, should they be responding more?
Yes, they should be responding more. And if they don't add that element of their game, that sometime during the course of this season, then it's probably going to be an early exit in the playoffs. They have
it is important.
Got to figure not that
important
out
tonight. Right?
Yep, they've got to figure it out. Did you guys see this Wayne Gretzky thing?
No, I did not. Who's this guy? I've never heard of him.
So he used to play hockey for the Edmonton Oilers. He played for the Kings. He played for the St. Louis Blues. He played for the New York Rangers. He forget what number he was. 9, I think.
Mark Messier?
Maybe 9. No. He was the guy. He was the other guy that played with Mark Messier. Wayne Gretzky. I think I'm saying.
I'm going to Google him
Gretzky.
later. Yeah.
Some relation to Mickey Mouse. I don't know.
So the same guy that did call this team a Mickey Mouse organization comes out and says about the New Jersey Devils, they're a fun, unique team to watch play. They kind of remind me of the Oiler teams of the 80s. Wayne Gretzky just compared this Devil team to some of the greatest teams in NHL history in those Edmonton Oilers. But then he goes on to say about somebody, so electric, so dynamic. He reminds me a lot in the sense that he reminds me of me in the sense that he sees the ice incredibly well. Wayne Gretzky said that about a player. I mean, it's Connor McDavid, right? I mean, that's who he's talking about.
You would think so.
Well, actually, maybe it could be Nate McKinnon, right? He's an amazing skater. He sees the ice well, right? Wayne could definitely probably compare Nate McKinnon to him, right? I mean, he's maybe Connor McDavid. Nope. It was Jack. He says Jack Hughes is so electric, so dynamic. He reminds me a lot of me in the sense that he sees the ice incredibly well. The same dude that called our organization a Mickey Mouse organization just said that this team reminds him of his teams of the 80s that won a gazillion and 10 Stanley Cups, and that Jack Hughes reminds him of himself, the greatest hockey player to ever play the fucking game. That is a ringing freaking endorsement.
Yeah. You know what? I do like watching in between periods a little bit. I was watching the intermission report there on ESPN where you have PK
and Mark,
and Mark Messier. And Messier's he's in pain. Anytime the Devils do well, you can tell it physically hurts him. He was kind of happy after the first period. He's like, I just can't say enough about how great Detroit's. But, boy, he really it just hurts him, but he can't tell a lie when it comes to Jack. He just says.
I didn't watch any of it. Was he praising Jack?
I mean, he had to at the end. Who's not going to?
How could you not? I mean,
exactly. Well, Mark Messier, man. I mean, he's
he doesn't want to, but he can't help it. To at least say that he's an amazing player, but he does it with like a pained look on his face.
Yeah,
I think Jack is he's like one of the top 3 marketed guys in the NHL right now, and I think he's going to move up. I mean, I think it's just the guy that the window is
the sky's the limit. Jack Hughes is, I believe, not only a future Stanley Cup champion, future Conn Smythe champion, future Hart Trophy champion, future cover of NHL 20 whatever fucking years he's on there, but he will be 1 year. He's that good. It's him, it's Connor McDavid, it's Austin Matthews. Like those three dudes the NHL loves. They love to market. And I think you said the pained face of Messier. It's probably the pained face of the NHL. Like, really? Why has he got to fucking play in Jersey? Can't we get him to LA or, something like that?
Sure. Yeah, they didn't want to make that mistake again. That's why they fixed the Bedard draft.
We can't have him going to
Columbus. Up in Anaheim or Columbus. Or, they don't want that. So put him on a Chicago team. No, but it's great. New Jersey's very lucky to have a player like Jack because there aren't many out there like him. He's a franchise player for sure.
And it's too early to say, but he's someone you could just picture staying with the organization until the end. You just, you can't. It's hard to say that these days, but he just has the way he speaks about New Jersey, the way he promotes.
I kind of like that we got his family on the team too. It's almost like we're holding them hostage in a way.
Now we need to have his mom make the food for the team in the daytime. Give his dad a little gig. Maybe
it's like you can't leave. Everybody is here. Sorry, now you got to stay here, part of the team forever.
Luke and Jack were on the power play with Steve Coolius on the XM the other day, and I have to say, like, not only like all the fucking shit that we're saying, all the how big we're pumping his tires here about him just being an amazing player. He's a class dude. Like I get what you're saying, Tony, that he has that like nonchalant, don't give a fuck attitude. He totally does,
which is perfect.
But in an interview like this, like when he's asked questions about his teammates, he's asked questions about his brothers. He is just the most, like, he's very sincere, but he is just a giving guy. Like, you can tell, like, he just praises everybody. Like, there's no ego in him. I know he wants to win. He probably wants to win more than anybody else on that team. But
you see him make that pass in the third when he could have had the hat trick. He made a pass.
Yeah. Yes.
I think all Devils fans want him to shoot, but I think I understand what he's saying. The pass, it didn't click there in the end, but if it did, the guy was open and he would have, scored. So he's not selfish, right. Put it that way.
Chris is right, because when you hear Jack talk about himself, even his voice level, it's kind of like he speaks different. But when he does talk about his brother,
he doesn't like to talk about himself.
Or Lindy, he's a big rough guy. When he talks about, he kind of he lights up, and congrats, Ruff got a contract extension.
Which I didn't even know wasn't. I thought he was already signed. I know that he didn't have a contract at the end of the year, but then nobody said anything, and he showed up to start coaching the team. So I assumed they did something during the summer. It just
the Devils were going to hope that he was never going to realize he didn't have a contract. And he kept showing up for free.
That's like
coming in.
My wife said, I haven't been getting checks. Do I have a contract? And they're like, oh, yeah, let's fix that, Lindy. We'll get you a contract. Sure, sorry.
We remember Costanza on Seinfeld when he's like going to work at a place, just keeps on showing up.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And I actually had a guy like that at one of my places. Well, it wasn't my place, but I was working on the island and at a place, and there was this kid. His name was Dan, and he was working there, and he was terrible. And
it wasn't
we
the
know
man.
This guy.
No, it was. It was
the man.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
And this was like his first ever summer, and the guy was not a good worker. And I was told I had to let him go, so I let him go. The next day, 6:00, he shows up to work. Now I'm
like
doing something.
He's there on your front porch, like Fight Club.
Exactly, with a sleeping bag. And next thing I know, the guy's making soap in the basement. It was the weirdest fucking thing. So no, he came back the next day, and I was doing something. So he was there like 2 hours, and I finally realized that he was there, and I was like, oh, well, I might as well just let him stay for today, and he stayed. And he did this 3 or 4 days in a row, and he didn't clock in. He didn't. So he knew he
wasn't getting paid.
I was finally knew he was. I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I just figured that if I kept showing up, eventually you guys would just be okay and rehire me because I really need this job. He was with this company for 10 years.
Because you can't get other people to show up to work, but the guy who doesn't work there, he shows up. What are you going to do?
Now, you try that with a girlfriend, it's a restraining order, but sometimes in business world it works.
It was, to talk about not being able to take no for an answer. But yeah, he was a great dude. Showed up every fucking day. I'm like, you didn't get paid for like a week. Like,
show up to an adult film site. Hey man, I work here. It's like, what are you doing here?
Oh, I see what you're saying. A few film while they're filming. Yes.
Yeah.
Just be like, I'm just here to watch. I'm the grip. I'm the grip's assistant. Actually, I
got the mop.
So you said 5-1 against the Coyotes tomorrow.
That's what I'm going to go with. I think they're going to come out definitely stronger. Jack mentioned it. Like I said, even they know that tonight was not their best effort. So I'm picking tomorrow night. Phoenix, I know you can't count them out, of course, especially the teams that are not as strong. You can't count out. But I think the Devils kind of roll them tomorrow night.
What do you
Is
think?
Akira in that? You think?
Yeah, Schmidt
well, that's what I was
there.
wondering. I figured that it's probably the gimme move to put Schmidt in. So I'm hoping to see him perform well too. Score wise, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I would like to see the Devils have a much better first period. That'd be great. We know that if they play their game on paper, they should win. That's a given. They were far from executing a solid game tonight. And so for them to put a better performance together, that'd be great. I think that would guarantee them the win if they put a better performance than they did tonight. And I'm not even saying, reach playoff level intensity, which is, not necessarily what you expect in game 2. So I'm okay with that. But I think they got to play a better game and just start getting in a groove, coming out strong every period. It's a long season, but you don't want to have like the reputation of just taking periods off because you can maybe score enough goals in 2/3 of the game to just play crappy for 1/3. That's not good.
The Oilers do.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year Edmonton was off to very slow starts.
It's a dangerous way to play. I don't like that, and I feel like you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're putting way too much pressure on your franchise players who. Why is this? It was a team, you shouldn't rely on Connor McDavid to score all your goals and the rest of you kind of just, don't know what else you're doing. And I'm not saying they don't have a heart. Maybe there's confusion about their roles and what they're supposed to be doing. And maybe just, too much anticipation. Tonight I thought first period that you could just see them how much they wanted a goal. And when you want something that bad, it gets a level of frustration that stops you from getting it.
I think there
I'm
was
glad
a
this
lot.
game's over.
I think there was a lot of emotion going into this game with the Devils. I feel that they were so hyped for this game just to be playing hockey. It's not that it was because it was against the Red Wings or it was at home. I think it would have been that way on the road. I just think they were so ready to just play real hockey. I do think that there were some nerves and there was some nervous energy at least.
Feeling the weight of expectations a little bit too?
I hope not. And I hope throughout, maybe if they're going to, it's probably going to be early on until they get
and
into
shake
their
it
groove.
off, get in a groove.
Right. And they get in their groove and they realize, you know what, we are a really good team and we deserve the expectations that have been thrusted upon us this year because of what we did last year. But you guys both said, and I agree, we do think it's a pretty obvious choice that Schmidt will be in net tomorrow. Do you guys think there'll be any other lineup changes? Or would you make any other lineup changes?
What about working Miller?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe Smith out and Miller in. I wouldn't be shocked
Smith
if they did
wasn't
that.
horrible, and Hughes looked good with him for the most part. So, if Smith is there to help, anchor Hughes, if that's the idea, and I guess he did a good job. But he himself has always been I want to see Miller in. If we've got him on the roster, let's use him. At some point. So maybe that's not a bad move to make. Other than that, I don't know. What do we think about the forwards? I wouldn't move anybody. I don't think.
Real quick, Jack did say in the interview with Steve Kouleas, he asked him about how do you like playing with Dawson Mercer and Tyler Toffoli. And he said, they're great and this and that, but, I'm used to playing with everybody. I'm sure the way Lindy is, I'll play with six. What do you say? I'll play with six different forwards throughout the course of
I heard that. Yeah.
Friday night.
Sounds very accurate. I don't think anybody doubts
night.
that.
And he was exactly okay. It's so noticeable. Even the guys on the team are saying it. But so I don't think anything in the forward department. No, I wouldn't make any line change. But I do think Miller, you got him. Let's use him.
I like Holtz. He was active. Holtz was, like last year at the opener, he had a goal. So it's not like we didn't know he could do something, but then he quickly faded. He was pretty active in this game.
He was
in the
responsible
right place.
Defensively. He was not making stupid passes with the puck. He was taking the safe play, going up the boards. He was just trying to play sound hockey, and I think he did. And his offense will come. If he continues to do that, the offense will come. I think it's fine playing on that third line. I know people, we talked about it a little bit on the last show, are in an uproar about him not being up there with Heischer and Meyer. And like Jack Hughes said, like we've always said, everyone else that knows this team says, he'll have his chance to play up there. Of course he will. You know, Lindy's of course going to give him a shot up there. You know, this is not just he's relegated to the third line or he's not going to play at all. You know, of course
I wouldn't be surprised if he juggled Brad around. Brad, he had some chances that he, shot wide. He's such a great skater, but I feel like he didn't reach his full potential as far as, the chances he could have created.
He looked a lot better in the preseason.
Yeah.
Than in this game.
And I was really conscious of like, wow, great preseason. And then I'm watching it. It's not like he was bad this game. I'm not saying that at all. But
he wasn't that noticeable.
He could do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much more room for a lot of these guys, Brad included. Like you said, Toffoli. Yeah, I mean, I think his contribution is going to grow. It wasn't bad, but I think it's going to grow. Even like Hamilton, until he scored that goal, you could say, we would like you to be our number one scoring defenseman for now, and then he showed up and he was there. So I think we're going to see that in game 2. More guys come online, if you will, and get more into it.
It's a good way to put it. Now, was Nate Bastian a healthy scratch or is he hurt?
I thought he was on the IR. Did we put him on the IR?
I'm not sure if he went on the IR. Let me check that real quick. Are you checking that, Tone?
Yeah, I'll check.
All right, cool. I'm just curious because I can maybe Lazar, maybe Nosek, maybe they put Bastian in tomorrow. If they are going to make any changes, it's not going to. It's not, of course, not going to be anything drastic. It'll be maybe Bastian in, or maybe who else is Foot? I know is on the IR.
Right.
I believe Nate Bastian.
What do you think of Nosek's game? It was okay, right?
I think he's a healthy scratch. It looks like
he was, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wouldn't be shocked if Bastian's in the lineup tomorrow. I thought that was maybe Nosek
or Nosek.
Probably Nosek. I think Nosek. He was around the net a little bit. I thought in the third period, once we got the lead before we gave it up. The McLeod line was out there a lot in the beginning of that third period.
And McLeod had some good chances himself, too.
And I thought that line was noticeable as far as their defensive game. I thought they played very well. So Nosek I have no issues with right now. He didn't wow me, but he didn't, like I said, do anything that is crazy. What about you, Tone? You think there's any changes to be made?
I think I wouldn't be surprised if Miller wound up in there. And I totally, it's funny you mentioned Bastian, and for a moment I forgot about that. So I mean, I would, if him being in there wouldn't surprise me either. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the exact same lineup as tonight. So it's besides goaltending wise.
But is there anybody you'd want to see that you would make a change?
I like Bastian. If we have Miller, I wouldn't mind seeing Miller go in there.
Yeah, I think those would be the normal ones that would be fun to see. I guess since we're going to come back tomorrow after the Coyote game, is there anything else you guys want to chat about, or want to wrap it up? A little shorter show tonight. We'll come on after the Coyotes. Hopefully, that's going to be a live stream. I can't make 100% promises right now, but either way, we'll be on after the Coyote game. So, guys, wherever you listen to us, please give us a positive review, 5-star rating, favorite, whatever. That would be really awesome, and it does go a long way to help promote the podcast. Other than that, for Bobby, Tony, Dan, I'm Chris. We're the Uncle Puckers. The season is upon us. We'll see.
Hey, Chris, anybody that got stickers tonight, feel free to send a photo of the sticker or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right? Send us a photo on Twitter of if you happen to meet up with Bobby at the game and you got a sticker and you didn't either A, drop it on the ground, B, throw it in the garbage, C, light it on fire. If you actually
I want those photos, actually.
Actually, if you do light it on fire, we'll take that. Actually, we will only take any pictures of Uncle Pucker stickers on fire.
It's to desecrate the Uncle Pucker sticker challenge. Yeah.
I like it. So for that, guys, thanks so much for checking us out, and we'll see you when we see you.
Look at that.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
Is it over? Oh, cool.